Hi everyone, here I am again. It's my second presentation and I want to say thank you ever so much for all of you for joining us. We are having a great time just texting with Lillian and Joanne, and we all agree that it's hard to believe that we're near the end of this day that we've planned for. It seems so far away, and now the day has seemed to have gone fast. So I don't know about you, but it's gone fast for us. So hopefully all is going well. I have one more card to show you how I made it. I do have some samples to show you at the end of it. I have some tips and tricks as I'm going through it. And I don't know if I have something for you to comment on. Actually, I do. I brought down, did run up and refill my water bottle and got a snack to have on. So let me know what kind of snack you usually have on your crafting table with you. And we'll share those things. Plus, I'm going to turn the camera down and get started. At least I hope I'm going to make this work. So, looks to me like not quite as short as Joanne. I don't need a stool, but I am on my tiptoes trying to see this. So, you can see where my catalog is open. Guess what I'm working with? Yes, Forever Greenery. I'm like Joanne. She apologized for not letting us pick the puppy and cat set. When the catalog came out, I mentioned this set first, and I've noticed since then that both Joanne and Lillian have it. So there are some great projects out on websites already, and I know coming from those two gals, and I have some more in mind myself, that you're going to have lots to pick from. Also notice on the Stampin' Up! Website that a lot of these products are on back order already, so don't get your hopes up too high today, but they will come back. So first of all, I want to share my snack. This is one of my favorites. So not too messy to have on my table when I'm stamping. So let me know what yours are. I want to start out by explaining a suite that is something fairly new to Stampin' Up! It's a suite where you can buy all the products at once, which is what I did. So I do have them to show you. Everything from paper to stamps to dies to ribbon. And the dies are also as a bundle on page 175 with the stamp set. So beautiful set. I would say I'm probably not much of a liking green color, but this set just somehow spoke to me. And the gold that goes with it, it's just amazing. So don't want to hold you up too long because it has been a longer day. But like I say, I would like to share what I do have with you. So the dies, I, like Lillian, like to cut them all out and display them so I can see the shapes and what there is. The stamp set does have the distinctive stamps, which again, I'm not, well, I don't think I am a great person for coloring, so I'm pleased to have these to do the shading and whatever for me. Again, the script writing and the block writing, beautiful set. So those are the stamps and the dies. The other pieces are a double set of small embossing folders. So you have two of them in that set. They come as the greenery, and this one is leaves on either end. This one is just an embossing folder with leaves going up and down. And those are smaller than our usual ones because they will fit in the mini Stampin' Emboss and Cut machine. I don't know for sure about the right wording on that one. Also comes this suite. Also will come with a double pack of ribbon. One that looks like gauze and a gold twine that frays really nice on the cards. I don't know if I have a piece of that cut out for my card. I will need it. And the other thing is gold hoops. And I found someone had suggested on one of the sites to keep them in one of your leftover embellishment boxes, and they fit just right in there. I can just see my granddaughter wanting those for a bracelet. And in this case, I've kept the die that I cut with them. And then once you have them in there, you can punch out the label that goes with them, and it's all there for you to use. The other thing that, just a sec here, comes, you have your designer paper. And as the other ladies have shown, we have done either side of the paper and the cardstock colors that go with it. And that is all listed on the back of the designer pack. And I have gone ahead and stamped and cut out the different greens that Stampin' Up! Has. And I'm keeping that on the back of my designer paper, just so I know if I want a lighter green or a darker or this shade or that shade. And then down here at the bottom, I have cut out, and again, like Joanne's mentioned with the dogs cutting out the designer paper, this also will cut out certain shapes on the cardstock. So turn them over the right way. These three, oops, I don't know how you can see those a little better, are the three that the dies do cut out of your designer paper. So again, Stampin' Up! Has done a lot of thinking and helping us with doing that. If you haven't seen the paper, I will just quickly go through the pieces. They are gorgeous, and they are lots of different shades of green. And even the Pretty Peacock with a bit of blue in it. You'll notice that's the one I used in that other card sample for you. Again, many different shades of green, and that's why I wanted to do that stamped image to have on hand, so that if somebody says, well, I don't know about that color of green, what about this color? So the other thing that comes with this particular package is the gold, Forever Gold specialty designer paper. And sorry, but it is going to glare a bit because it is gold. So it kind of looks like Christmas, doesn't it? You have all of these punch-out pieces that you get with tissue paper in between. And now that Lillian has showed us how to stamp on that, lucky I kept that. And I kept this because there are pieces that I'm sure I can cut out or punch out or whatever. But I do want to show you the full sheet. There is one like this, which the pieces, there's 6 layers on there. And then once those are all punched out, you do end up with, oh, let's fly away, with perfect gold squares. And I used to do a fair bit of scrapbooking, and I do still, it's not cooperating, do shadow boxes. And my thought with saving those, they never did hit the garbage. It wasn't that I had to take them out, but they would be great for scrapbook pages or shadow boxes for a background. So again, keeping those. My pieces, when I did take them out of the gold, I keep in our cases that we can buy, and so much easier than trying to keep them in those sheets. So that is the embellished pieces. These are the pieces for the back of cards. I do have one I've used, I'll show you at the end. And also in one of those cases, I think it was Joanne that showed on one of her videos a long time ago about when you've got pieces of cardstock left before you put them away or throw them out, cut out anything like this that you might be able to use at a later date with your dies, because you've got them out already, and then just keep them, and they're handy for, okay, I need a little piece here, a little piece there, or a big piece, and you've got them to use. So I think that is pretty well all of the By looking at my table, that is all of the sweet pieces. So now I'd like to share the card that I've designed for you. It is not using the Just Jade, the new cardstock color, but it is using some of the others. And I, again, really like Lillian's idea of stamping off on here. So maybe we'll end up doing that if I remember. I do have some scrap paper, but what I did with this was some of the colors are stamped off, some are full, and just kind of a, not a mismatch, but elegant looking card done with various shades of the green. So I started out with my card base at 8.5 by 5.5, and I'm going to fold it and burnish it. Then I have a black layer for my next one at the 5.25 by 4, and if you'll notice, I do have a black layer here, and because this is behind and nobody's going to see it, I am going to use my punch out of there. Great card saving piece, cardstock saving piece. So you have a little, well, it's not so little anymore. Had a lady and her granddaughter used to come to my grand class, as I called it, which it was a grandma and granddaughter. I had just a couple of them, but it was a great day because they really enjoyed being together. And she was, when she was probably, I don't know, I'm going to say 10 or 12, she was the one that said, well, can't we punch out of that behind there because we don't see it? So ever after that, we've named it by her. She's now, I think, 17 and driving her own vehicle around and whatever, so time does go by. So that piece you will need. The white that I'm going to stamp on is just a little bit, and again, your sizes will be on your PDF, so you're not going to have a huge border around it when you get it there. But let's do some stamping. If I can remember what colors I used where, it would be good. Going to bring in my inks. I have Shaded Spruce, Pretty Peacock, Pear Pizzazz, and Garden Green. Pear Pizzazz is that one. Pretty Peacock is this one. That one, I think, looks to me like it was Pear Pizzazz. This one is the Garden Green, and this one would be my Shaded Spruce. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what color you use where. I do like to start with my lighter ones for the background. And Pear Pizzazz is a fairly light shade. So I'm going to start with it and stamp a little bit closer to the top of the card. Maybe stamp off that one. Oh, I like that trick, Lillian, thank you. And just a couple of those for sticking out at the top. Then I am going to go with my next largest stamp and just kind of build a background. Oh, you know how to stamp, so I'm just going to do that one. That was stamped off, but it's pretty dark. Then I will have this one for sure. I think I'm going to do one more of those. And as you go, just like I say, you're building your own background. Ooh. And I love this Pretty Peacock being in here as well, and I think I'll just put a little bit of that. Now, what I would check at that point, wherever the heck I left it. Okay, I do have a piece of designer paper. Oh, there it is. Oh, I had it here somewhere. it's going to go across the bottom. So, and my circle is going to go. So you can see something like Joanne's that she was doing with the background and whatever, you might want to add a little bit more. I think on that one I will add, I didn't even do that one yet, that's why. I'm going to add, and just in case I don't, and then on the inside layer, I do want to put something, and this little guy just seems to be the right amount to put on the inside layer that I'm going to have. So once I've got that to where I like it, I am going to glue my designer paper, and I will use the liquid glue. I'm out in a hurry. Because I want that little bit of wiggle room in case I don't get it lined up perfectly. The designer paper always comes, well, most often comes with 2 different designs, so you can decide what you want showing. As in, that one was that on that side and that on that side. Either one would look awesome. I will then take my paper snips and trim it, because obviously I had it bigger than what I needed. So building my card again, I like to do all my stamping first, so I'm going to lay that in there. This will end up on here. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have my gold ring, gold hoop it's called, not gold ring. So I will need that, and I'm going to have the words. So the words would be stamped in, just a minute, I have them here. The dark, whichever green it was the garden green. So that would be stamped on your piece of cardstock. And again, stamping before I cut it out, I would then cut that out with the Big Shot and the circle die. But through the magic of not wanting you to wait, I happen to have one right here. So we'll go ahead and I will put this together the way I figured it out. If you have any suggestions on how to mount this tiny, tiny, tiny ring on here, and that's why I made the black bigger, is I tried using my Take Your Pick tool. I rolled a glue dot and just stuck it, if you can see. I'll try not to. I did that with about 3 of them around the edge. And I'm thinking that it will work. Plus, it's not going to be, like, it's not like anything swinging off of the hoop. So it, as long as it attaches to that black, it should stay where it belongs. I'm thinking that perhaps the only other thing that might work well would be your liquid glue, but maybe not as quickly adhered. So try not to get my head over here too far, but I am going to try placing that where it belongs, over my black. And yes, it's not great that you can see that, But I'm hoping that once I put this on with dimensional, or 2, or maybe 3 or 4, it will take away from the extra of the glue dots appearing there. So I'm going to put that in the center. That piece is really, and as people mentioned earlier, some people aren't going to notice that as bad as we are. So I'm going to once again take my stamp and seal and see if I can get it to work. Oh no, this one I wanted dimensionals. Sorry. Just to, again, I didn't have a new name or anything for this card. I like to think of it as being elegant. And I want it to look the best I can, of course. So that is on with dimensionals. Then this one is on with the tape runner, stamp and seal as we call it. And the lighter use is working. So exciting to learn these things. And with just a little bit of a border, that will go on. Then again, this I am going to put on with my liquid glue. I like the fact that you don't have to be exact with this. Of course, you don't want it too close to the edges so it squirts out, but, and just wherever you want to place it. I want my background leaves peeking out, and I want it to stay. And I guess before I finish up the front, I should put my inside piece in. And I believe we need some bling. So I keep my rhinestones and my pearls in a case like this. I have one customer who comes to class when allowed that loves to use X-Acto knife to put hers on with. I'm afraid I would probably cut myself if I did that. So I tend to use my scissors as, do you see that? Just a side note. If you watch, be sure and watch Lillian's video on using the silicone mat, because you can do things like this, is stamp on there and transfer the image. And great techniques in that video, as well as Joanne's on ribbon. And yeah, please take the time to watch those. So I use, can you see what I'm doing? I use my scissors as a pair of tweezers, and working with our infamous odd number, I'm going to, I don't know where I want that. No, I'm going to put gold ribbon down there. I'm going to just place it up there. And I'm sure if I made this card again, I would place it somewhere else, as you saw on this one. So next I need my ribbon, and lots of tips on the websites and whatever as to how to store things. I store my ribbon in an eaves trough. Again, hubby was willing to come with me to Home Depot to find the right length of eaves trough that he could cut off, and and my ribbons stand up in there. And when I have them like this, that I want the end to be kept, I do just put a piece of Scotch tape over it and hold it there. I've seen some that do put a stick pin, like from your sewing. And, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how big to cut this. I don't remember if I even put a length in the PDF. So what was I telling you? Oh, my ribbon, yeah, it just goes in the eaves trough, and then it's easy to get out, and it's not falling all over the place. So even on that, the other one that came with it, that's what I've done with it. And it works for me. So whatever works for you and whatever you've got room for. I've got room, had him cut the eaves trough lengths so they fit inside a cupboard I have with doors on it. So it is kind of tidy when I finally do get things tied up. So this one, again, like I think it was Lillian was tying one that had double layers. That's what I've done with it. How come that top one doesn't look? Oh, because I know why, because it's folded in. You know what? I could tie that again. So just something, I didn't want a bow. Maybe I will untie that and do it as 2 layers. My time is still good, if you guys are still good. Because I do like the 2 layers. So instead of trying to do it all in one, I've got a long enough piece. I'm now going to just loop it over and through, and then my knot is, and it doesn't have to be, but yeah, I like that much better. And then as I mentioned earlier, this really does fray easily, so when I get it mounted on there, it's going to be, so I'm just going to trim those extra lengths. I can fray it more or not, and it's just going to curl around there, and that's definitely a glue dot thing happening there. And probably, again, glue dots either with your take your pick tool or my scissors used as a pair of tweezers work really, really well. Stampin' Up! Has so many choices for adhesives that I'm sure you'll find one that works. So there's our card. A little bit of color inside, and to me that is an elegant card. And I also have my piece of 6 by 2.5 paper to put on the envelope. And you've seen us do this a few times today. I hope that you will find a use for all those smaller pieces of DSP. And this is really a great way to use, like you have 6-inch, some of the paper comes as 6-inch, 6 by 6. So if you have it directional, remember that the envelope is going to go down that way. And I'm going to just place it on there. Oh, that was by 2.5, so you could get away with 2 1/4 if you're kind of short on designer paper piece that you have left. And I have a card with a matching envelope. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've enjoyed our day. And as much as we have enjoyed putting it on for you, please take part in our challenges. You will find posts for them on this Facebook group. And we will be sending out reminder emails, reminder posts as to when the deadlines are for those. So don't go away from this Facebook page for a while yet. We have some more information coming out, and I will sign off now, and we will be back at 3 o'clock with a wind up, and hopefully Zoom to Facebook will work so you can see all of us. Thanks, everyone.